Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to do hammer box from the TryHackMe. Now this is an easy box, so we will probably not take a lot of time. But I have already started my Kali instance and also the hammer box. The IP is 10.10.135.130. So let's get started, and we will close this once and start it again. Show a split screen, expand. We'll just wait for this to show up. Okay. So let's start with the nmap scan 10.10.135.130, and let's see what we can see. We can see that only one port is open. Let's run a full port scan to see what all other ports are open. I don't think there would be a server with just port 22 open. There would be definitely other ports open. Let's also give minus VV, so we can see the TTL as well as we can see the port as soon as nmap sees them open. Let's run this, and we can see that immediately we can see that 1337 port is open. Let's see what is there on this port. So I will do minus P 1337 minus SC and minus SV to enumerate the version and run the default scripts. Uh, okay, we will have to probably wait for a few seconds for this to complete. But while this is running, hopefully this is a web port. Yeah, this is a web port, right? So we can see that this is on a Ubuntu OS with Apache 2.4.21, and it says a login portal, right? So before we go start looking into this, let's see if we can run a directory buster on this. So we will do derb and the IP address colon 1337. We'll start this and we will go and look at the server in the meantime. So 10.10, 135, 130, 130, 135. And I need to remove this S. Looks like we are finding some directories here, which are phpMyAdmin and so on and so forth. We'll see what are those. But let's first, okay, I didn't give the port number. Let's see what is there. 135, 130. Okay, so this should be 135 and 130. Okay, so we can see that there is a login portal here, and there is nothing that we know about this login portal right now. Let's see the source, page source. This looks like a straightforward HTML page with nothing much on it. But there is a comment which says that all the directory convention must, all the directories begin with HMR underscore directory name. So probably this DB will not help, and we will have to start a new directory first. We can use wfuzz for whatever we want. I personally use wfuzz more. So let's run wfuzz minus u, and then we will give the URL minus w, user share word lists derb. We can use common, anything is fine, and we want to use fuzz for the word list. So we will say HMR underscore fuzz because we already saw that the directory naming convention is HMR underscore directory name, right? And fuzz is the word that will be replaced from the word list. So we want to fuzz this. Let's see what do we find. Okay, we don't have wfuzz here. Do we have puff here? Puff also has very similar syntax as wfuzz, so you can actually replace puff with wpuff. And we can see that immediately we found 4 folders. So let's go and check what they have. So first is /HMR CSS. There's a bootstrap min.css. This looks like this is a default bootstrap, so there's nothing much to look there. Let's see what is there in images. There's a WebP image here, which looks like it's an image of WebP. If we don't find anything else, probably we'll come back to this, but let's see what is there in the other folders. This is jQuery 30360, and this also looks like a default jQuery. So nothing much to see here. But logs, it looks interesting, right? So let's go to logs, and we can see that there is a error.logs. Let's open this, and we can see that the uh, website is at where.html. Good to know. We will keep this in the back of our mind. There seems to be some restricted area, protected, and there seems to be some hammer THM test.php. We don't know how to reach this, so we will not talk about this. We'll not worry about this right now. There seems to be some /admin login, and what else can we see? What else can we see? Yeah, there is also a user tester at hammer.thm. So we'll keep that in our back pocket for now. Let's try to see if we can reach any of the other mentioned pages here, right? So first we said was restricted area. Let's try to see if we can reach restricted area. And I'll just remove view source from here. No. Then there was one called as protected. This is in where.html. So if it is present in the server and if we have permissions, we should be able to see this, but no, no luck there as well. And then we have one called as admin login. So let's check what do we have in admin login. Nothing. So for all the 3 folders that we found from there, we got 404 not found. So let's check if we can find something in the login panel. At least we have a username now. So we can try this username and any password. Let's try with password. We say invalid, we get an invalid email or password. So of course we are not able to enumerate email or email is valid or not. Let's try forgot your password. That's another thing we have, right? Let's try tester at hammer.thm. That's the username that we got in the logs, right? So let's try this here. And we can see that immediately it says enter recovery code. You have 175 seconds to enter your code. So within 175, 180 seconds, we have to try and brute force this code if we can. Let's first see if we are able to brute force this or are we expected to do something else, right? So I will simply try a few 4-digit codes. 1212 and 1234 2, 3, 4, 5, or 0, 0, 0, 0. And we are getting invalid or expired recovery code. But we still have time. I am not sure why this is happening. So let's check what happened in the response. Okay, fine. This looks like it's fine. So what are we getting? Headers. I am just trying to see if there is a rate limiting or not. If there is no rate limiting, we can easily brute force this, right? But if there is a rate limiting, then it will be a little difficult to brute force this. So let's try a few more. Yeah, so we can see that we are hitting a rate limit. Now we need to bypass this rate limiting, right? And the easiest way to bypass rate limiting is always to try with X forwarded for. So we can first let's verify whether that works or not. So I can just say edit and resend, and let me increase the size a little bit and change this to like this, and we will add X forwarded for, and we will get any value here. Generally, this is the header which gets added when uh, you have a proxy. We don't have a proxy, but we can always add this header, right, and see what response we get. If this is working, then we will not get a rate limiting problem, and we should see the same response that we were getting earlier. Let's see what response we got. Remove this and go to response. Okay, so we can see that we were able to bypass this. Now let's try to use this to our benefit and see how we can bypass this and still fuzz for the 4-digit pin. First is we will need to create a 4-digit pin. Let me bring up the terminal a little bit so that you can see what I am doing. Okay. Now we are in Bash. Bash has a very simple concept of expansion, right? So if I do curly braces 1, 2, double dots and 2, sorry, double dots up to 9, then I can see that it gets expanded like this. And let's try printf %d /n. This will print my digits with a new line, and then if I use this, then I can see that every numeral gets printed. It's an online own line, and we know that the digit is 4 digits, right? So we want 4 characters for each of the uh, pins. So we can try 04D here. This will make all the digits, all the numbers 4 digit, and now we can just expand it to 9999, and we can actually start from 0, and then we can put it in a.text, or we can say numbers.text. That is a better name for this. So if we see this now, we will see that we have all the 4-digit numbers in this num.text up to end, right? It will go up to 9999. Uh, Now we need X forwarded for, right? So we need nearly uh, five attempts we are able to do with single IP. So we can run four uh, commands with four curl commands with the same IP. But that will become a little cumbersome. So what I am thinking is we will run all the commands with their own IPs. And this should be again pretty simple to do for I in I can do 1 to 255, and then we can say for j in 1 to 255 do, and we can say echo 1.1 dot dollar I dot dollar j. Done. Done. There is a single dot here. Okay, let's fix that. And we can see that now we have 255 into 255 IPs, right? But we don't need that many. We only need about 9999 IPs. So what we will do is head minus so many IPs and then direct them to IPs.txt. So we can see that now we have IPs.txt, which is basically the IP addresses from all unique IP addresses. Now we should be able to use for WFuzz or whatever tool we want to and send the requests individually for the brute force. Uh, Before we do that, let's keep our command ready because we have only 180 seconds to do this. So let's go back here, refresh it, or rather press enter here so that. Okay. So forgot your password. We are still blocked. Uh, so I'll just pause the video and come back once this block is removed so that I can continue showing you what we can do. Okay, we are back. So we know that we can use tester at hammer.thm as the username. And when we do that, we get this, right? So let's go to view page source again, not page source, inspect element again. Go to inspect and we will go to network and submit a request. Doesn't matter what we submit. We just want to have a look at the request. We can see that the request is going to reset password.php and the request itself has two components. One is recovery code, which is 1111, and S, which seems to be the seconds left. Right now, I don't think we will worry about this S. Let's try to brute force this, right? So we have already created the two files that I just showed you. So let's use puff minus u. We will use this. And then we want to do a post data, and in post data we would like to, we can actually copy it from here. So if we change this to raw, I can see the actual raw content that was sent, and we can just copy that, right, and then use it here. And by mistake I closed the terminal. Let me open that again. I am used to pressing Control W for deleting the word. And in browser-based terminals, this is the problem that Control W will close the terminal. Tab, which is a big problem for me because I keep pressing Control W to delete word. So it ends up closing my tab. But this is what we want, and we will change this to fuzz. and then we want cookie, so we will say minus h cookie colon php session id equals the php session id that we got, and that we can check in storage php session id. We can copy this and this we want to change to, let's change it to w1. And once we have done that, then we want to use the word list uh, numbers.text, and this will be w1. And then we also want to use the header which is x forwarded for, and this will be our w2. This will be the second word list that we will use, right? So minus w, and then we can say ip.text, and this will be w2. Now we can run this, and we can see that all of this immediately returns a same number of lines, words, and size, right? And we want to filter. So I don't remember filter for puff, but we can quickly check, and we can say we want to filter out for character, right? So no status codes, lines. Amount of lines is also fine. We can use minus fl, and we saw the number of lines was 48. So let's run this, and hopefully we will be able to find this quickly. Okay, I made one more mistake. I want to give the mode as pitchfork, because otherwise if you see here, the number of requests that were going were very high because it was trying all combination of both the word lists. Now you can see that it is 10,000 word combinations that it will try. And somehow we didn't find it. So let's remove this minus fl, and we will change this to minus fr for regex. And we know that it should not contain invalid word, right? And we are still getting let's filter on words also, and for 484. Let's filter words 484. Okay, this seems better. Okay. Our PHP session ID has expired. That's why we are not getting anything. So let's change the PHP session ID. We will give tester at hammer.php, submit it, get the cookie, go to PHP session ID, copy the value. You know the drill, and we need to use it in our in my command itself I had the wrong key earlier also, but now anyway we have the correct cookie. So let's see, and we will paste this. Okay, this seems like correct cookie, so we will quickly run this, and now we are getting a different number of lines. So we will use FW543, and hopefully we will find this. Which should be done pretty quickly. We should not have to wait so much. And once we find this, we can use it in our this thing to reset our password, right? So let's see. It's already at 9,500. Okay, why it didn't find it again? Let me remove this FR invalid. And it should not take a lot of time. Within a couple of seconds, it should be able to run through 10,000 combinations and we should be able to get the pin. 4,900, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Okay, we were still not able to find this. So let me quickly check this and then resume. Okay, after I stopped the recording, I remembered the mistake I was doing. I was basically not adding the content type header. So we need the content type header when we are using FUF. But if you are using WFUS, probably you won't need this. You can try it without this. But other than that, we should be now able to get the code. And for your benefit, I will show this again to you that this works. And I will go back to reset password. And since we have already hit it here, it's basically using the same session ID. So let me delete the cookie and then we should be able to get the page where it asks for email ID. Yeah, so now it is asking for email ID. We can do the same thing. Submit this. We'll get the cookie here. Go and get the cookie from here. Copy this. Copy our to our command. And we can paste our cookie here. And we can see that it is running. It hardly takes 7-8 seconds. It's nearly doing 1,000 requests per second. So even if it is in 6-7,000 range, it should be done in 6-7 seconds. And we should be able to see the response now. Yeah. So we can see that 7671 or 7712 both worked. But actually now that we have done that, we don't even need to give the code here. I can just do a refresh. Since it was done on the same session, PHP session ID, we can use the same session and we can just refresh the page. I'll just use a very simple password for this and then we can click on reset password and hopefully the password will be changed. Yeah, the password is changed. So now we should be able to log in with tester at hammer.thm and I will use the password that we have set and we get the first flag for this machine. Good thing is now we can execute commands, so we can just submit whatever commands we want and we can see the files that are present there and we can run any command that we want. Oh, it logged me out. Let's see why. Uh, let's first start looking at the page source and see it must be something coming from the server or some client-side script, right? There could not be anything else. So we can see Bootstrap, jQuery. Okay. Is there any other script? Yeah, there is one. Okay. We can see here check trail user cookie. It gets a cookie persistent session. And if this is not trail user, then it basically sends us to logout.php and we get logged out. And it is doing it every 1 second, right? So if we set this cookie before we, okay. So this will, okay, let's try to set this cookie and see what happens. I am not sure whether it will work or not, but we can try. There's no harm. So we can go to storage. We can see that there is a cookie called persistent session, right? Yeah, persistent session. This is set to no. Let's try to set this to 1 or yes, whatever, right? And see whether we get logged out or not. So we are logged in. What is the value of this? This becomes no. Okay, so it is getting set when the server is sending a response. But now that we have this, we probably don't worry about this 20-second limit, right? And we can do this much easily. What I will do is I will again go here and change this to persist the logs, and then I will log in. This I want to do because I want to see the request that is sent to for login. So this is a post request to index.php, and the request has this data. Let's copy this data, and we will write a Python script to quickly use this. I will just say e.py. Import requests. Basically, we want to send this data. Wrong clipboard. This is the right clipboard. And then our URL is this. So I'll use this. And then we will say s equals requests dot session. Session will basically manage the session for us, so we don't have to worry about extracting the cookie and all those things, right? Whatever set cookie is done by server, session will handle those for us, and whenever we send the next request with s dot get or s dot post, it will send the correct cookies for us, so we don't have to worry about it. The next thing that we want to do is we want to send a command. So this, okay, first we want to log in, right? So I will say add equals dot post, and we want to do URL plus, no, I already have index dot. Let's keep index.php outside of URL. That will enable us to use the same variable at multiple places. Okay, so we can do this, and then slash, yeah, slash is already there, index.php. So this is my URL, and then I can say data equals data, and that should ideally let me in, right? So I can just say print dot text, and let's see whether we are able to log in or not. Python 3 e.py, and we are not logged in. Let me change this a little bit. I can see that this is %40. I don't want it to be %40. Request module will anyway URL encode it, so we can change it to at and see whether this works. This still doesn't work. Let me use it the way I generally do it. I generally make it a dictionary and just say email is this, comma, password is this. Okay, this should work. This is still not logged in. Why? What did we do wrong? Tested password equals Amitji, and we are saying request dot s dot post URL data equals data. Tester at hammer. I have deleted a D. Okay, this looks better. Okay, yes, we are logged in. Now, once we log in, let's try to run a command and see what happens, right? So let's log in and let's try something, whatever it is, doesn't matter, and submit. Okay, it's sending a request to execute command.php, which has a parameter command and the actual command. But if we look at this function, I happen to see something interesting here, right? So we can see there is a JWT token which it is using, and it is getting this in the response, and it is using this as authorization bearer token in the request that is sending to execute command, and also it is sending a application JSON uh, text type, right? So we should be able to replicate this pretty easily. Let's see, where is my second terminal? Yeah, it's here. Okay. So what we want is, first we want to extract the JWT. So we will say import RE, and let's define the regex that I want to use. The regex will be, I will do this, and this is my regex, and then I want to capture only the JWT, which ends with a single quote and semicolon, and this is my regex. Now in the text, I want to capture that regex, right? So I would say, let's say JWT equals re dot find all, and then I want to give my regex, and then I want to give the text in which I want to find it, and then I want to print J, and I don't want to print text anymore. This should be fine. We know that we are getting the text correctly. So we should now see the JWT token being printed. So let's run this, and we can see that it is getting printed, but it's in an array. So let's also make sure that it's not an array anymore. And we can just say that I want the 0th element, which is the first element or the only element in this array. And now I should get it as a plain text. Okay, perfect. We got the JWT. Now we want to make a second request in the same session. So we will say R equals session dot post, and then URL plus execute command dot php, and this time we want to send JSON, and request module will automatically handle it for us if we say JSON, right? So I want to say command, and then the command itself is ls. Let's try with ls first. If this works, then we will try with everything else. And I want header also. So we will say headers equals, we want the authorization header, which will have bearer, and then space, and then the JWT that we got just now, right? This should be the request that we should be able to send, and we should be able to see what is the r dot JSON. I am hoping that we will get a JSON output. If not, we will see. Worst case, we will get an exception and we can fix it. Okay, we got this JWT, and with this JWT, we are posting to execute command.php, JSON command, command command, ls, headers, authorization, bearer J. Looks like we are making some mistake. What mistake we are doing? With this should be fine, right? What is it that we are doing? Let's see. Execute command, JSON command, and then headers, authorization, bearer, and JWT. Okay. We are missing F here. I'm using F string, but I forgot to put F here, so it's not putting the actual value. Okay. Now it should work. Okay, we got the JSON output. This is our JWT that we were printing. Now we can get rid of this as well, right? We don't want to print JWT token anyway. And now we got the JSON. So let's say that my JSON, let's name it as JS, because JSON we will probably need to import since we are getting JSON. We will say dot JSON, and then we can do a print JS and output. Okay, so this looks fine. Now, what happens when we run this? Okay, we can see that we are able to execute the command that we want. There are multiple files in the current directory. Let's try to execute few other commands and see what do we get, right? So instead of ls, let's say we want to execute pwd. Where are we? There is no output in JS. So looks like something went wrong. Let's check this. So if output in JS, then we will print JS, else we will print the JS without the output. Basically anything that we have got from server. So run this again, and it says command not allowed. So let's try with few other commands if we can execute other commands. Let's try cat etcos release. So this also doesn't work. So we can keep trying this, but before even we try this, we actually I can see something very interesting here. Dot key. Whenever I see a dot key, it's very interesting. So let's first decode the JWT that we are getting and see how the JWT looks like. So I'll copy this JWT, go to jwt.io, and paste my JWT here. The type is JWT, algorithm is HS256, which is fine. But key ID is an interesting parameter. This key ID basically means that this is a key that should be used for the encoding of the JWT, right? And since we are sending the JWT, we can change the key ID if we want to. And that could be useful for us, right? Because we already saw that there was a key file. Let's try to get that key file and see if that is something that we can use as a key for this. So we will go to this tab, and let's say, since that is in the same folder which is the web root, we should be able to get that file from browser. Although our command is not working, but we don't need that probably because it is in the web root folder, which is a very, very, very bad practice. You should never have something very important like this in the web folder and accessible and readable, right? And we are able to get the key file. So let's get that key file using curl to see what are the contents. And we can see that we have some content in that file. So we should be able to use this as our KID and change the file name. We know the file name. We know the path where www.html from the logs that we had seen earlier. So we know the full path of this KID, and we also have the KID. We also have an existing JSON, and we can see what all is there in the JSON. So in the JSON, we can see that it has audience issued at expiry. In the data, it has a user ID of one, email of tester at hammer.thm. This is the one that we gave. But what is interesting, it is also has role of user. Let's see if we can change this role to something else, right? Maybe admin or something. So what we will do is we'll come down here and say import import JWT, and then where is my JWT? My JWT is here. J is my JWT, right? Sorry. So let's say JWT decoded JD equals JWT dot decode. First thing it needs is J, and then we actually don't need to verify the signature because if we look at this, we will probably see that it has an invalid signature because we don't know the signature that was used. We don't have this mykey.key file, and since it is outside of HTML, uh, there is no way we will be able to get this mykey.key, right? So we should be probably decoding this without verifying the key. So we can say options equals, how do we do that? I can quickly check that. Python JWT verify signature. All these things will pop up. Accept all keys. JWT decode. Let me go to Python documentation. I think that will be a quicker option to quickly check how to disable checking for key, because that's what we want finally, right? So let's go back. PyJWT. Okay, this is what we are looking for, and we can see uh, verify signature to false. This is what we want. All right. So I will just copy this. Okay, and then we should probably have a correct JD here. Let's print JD and see what do we get. We get a invalid audience. So probably we need to define the audience also. Let's quickly check how to define the audience. Audience claim, audience claim. We just say audience equals whatever is the audience. Okay. And if we go back here, we saw audience, which was hammer.thm. Okay. So we can add that here. So let's add that. Audience. We can say http hammer.htb htm thm dot htm thm. Done. Okay, let's try to decode it again. AUDINC audience equals not semicolon. Okay, audience equals this. Okay, so we are able to decode the JWT. Now, since we are able to decode the JWT, we should be able to modify it the way we want it, right? So what I want to say is that my KID file is the HTML and we can copy the file name from here. Let me keep this file name different separately and I will just say key file, right? And this will become my key file. And why I am doing that is we will also need the secret. So rather than hard coding it, we can actually get the secret here. So this becomes my KID and then we want the secret. So for secret, we can do session.get URL plus key file and we will say this is R equals and my secret will be dot text and I should be able to print my secret here and we should see the secret is same as what we got earlier and this is my KID. We will need the complete headers for this, so let me anyway put the complete header here. Alright, so I can just copy paste the whole header here and put it here, not this buffer, the other buffer. And for KID, we will just change the file name to KID. Okay, so now we have the header and we have the secret and then we want to modify the data itself. But before we do that, let's verify that we are getting the secret correctly, right? So let's run this. Let's run this. Key file we have to define before we execute the. Okay, this can go here. And we are getting the same content of the key file that we were getting earlier. Okay, this is fantastic. Now we have the secret, we have the KID, we have the headers defined that the way we want it. The only thing we want to change is this is our JSON. In the JSON, we don't want to change anything else other than data role. We want to change the data role, right? So we will say, what is my decoded JSON? JD. JD is my decoded JWT, right? So I can say JD data, and then inside data I can change the role, and this I want to change it to admin. Okay. So this is my new JD. Now I want to re-encode it. So I will say new JWT equals JWT dot encode. We want JD, then we want the secret, and then we want headers equals headers. This will ensure that we are using the new KID, right? We have changed the header, so we need to give the headers again so that it uses the KID that we want it to use. Once we have done that, then we have the new JWT, and now we should be able to use the new JWT here in bearer token. So let's use new JWT, and are we able to execute command or not? Let's see. Invalid token key ID is missing from token. Okay, let's try to print headers type KID. Again, I have missed F. For F string, you have to prepend it with F. Okay, we are still missing something. What are we missing? Let's print this new JWT. We are probably doing something wrong in creating the new JWT. So njwt will print, and this is our new JWT, which is in bytes. So we don't want it in bytes. We want it in string. Okay, let's see now. Okay, now this works. So we can see that we have got a new string now, and we can copy this to our jwt.io. This has var www.html 188ad e1.key and we have changed role to admin, and the password is what we saw in that key file. Okay, so this has allowed us to become admin, and as you can see, now we are able to execute commands, right? And but executing a command by changing this script every time is again still a pain. So what I am going to quickly do is change it to use command module, and I will just say import cmd, and we can actually put everything in. Yeah, I will do that. Okay. So CMD is basically allows you to create a command line module, right? So I can say def, let's say RC, and this will extend cmd.cmd class, and then I will have a default function. The default function is the one which gets executed when you do not have a specific function defined for the commands, and all the functions will basically get one parameter, which is the line which was given by the user. If this is still confusing, just wait for a minute, and when we get to executing this, you will understand what I am trying to say. So we want to define a default function, and I will indent it. If you are wondering how I am indenting, just let me show you, right? Shift V will select the current line. Shift G will take me to end of the line. and then greater than sign will move it, indent it towards right. Okay. So this is now in our this thing. What we want to change here is only one thing, which is where we are running command. I want to change this to line, because line is the input that we are getting as a parameter in this function. Okay, and this is done. Now we can define one more function, and I want to define a function called as def quit, and this also will have the same parameters, self and line, and all we want to do here is return true. This is required only to quit out of command mode. If you don't want to exit and control C is fine with you, then it's fine. What did we name the class as? Class was named as RC, right? So I can say here RC dot CMD loop. That's all. So now I am going to execute the whole thing in a loop, and every time I give any command, it will basically go to my default function. In default function, line will contain the full command that I have entered, and then I am going to execute the same thing that I was executing earlier, but rather than executing a fixed command, now we are executing the command that came as a parameter to this function, which is the line that we have entered. And if we enter quit, then this module will execute do quit function, and it will execute exit this. So let's try that. Uh, did I save it? No, I did not. Invalid syntax. Because I did not say this was a class, and I said this is a function. And this is a class. Okay. So now we can see that we are here. If I just type quit, we can exit. If I just type ls, we can see the output of ls command here. We have, if we still have some print command, so I can probably just remove them just to make this a little bit more cleaner. And I can say this and this I don't want. We don't want the new GWT. We don't want this. We only want this. That's all. And I guess we can also change the prompt from here. I am not sure. I need to check it up, but let's see if this works or not. So let's change that. Do a quit here. Execute again. It kind of works, but it doesn't work at the same time. It just shows it once, and then it doesn't show it. But we can actually change it in the init function. If you look it up, I am pretty sure that you will be able to check that. So now we have a way to execute commands on the remote system, and we can verify that by saying etc os release, and we can see the file there. If we want to look at, let's say, echo $, this is our current PID where we ran it, but this PID would have died by now, right? So we can just run PS, and we can see that we are seeing the Apache commands. Who am I? Whatever commands we want to run, we can run. And now let's try to get the flag. And if you look at here, it tells you that the flag is in home ubuntu flag.txt. So we should be, we can probably try to get that ubuntu flag.txt, and we can get the flag here. So that's all for today. Thank you.